Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. This channel is dedicated to helping you to understand everything that you need to know about the We're All Satoshi business opportunity and everything that you need to know about the existing products in the ecosystem. If you're already a member of the community, then congratulations. Please do go ahead and share the link to this video with all of your community members so that they can learn everything that they need to know also. If you're not an existing member of this community, but you're enjoying my videos and you're excited at what We're All Satoshi has to offer and would love to join, all you need to do is scan this QR code and contact me on Telegram. And I can answer any questions that you have and show you exactly why this opportunity could be life-changing for you. Anyway, in today's video, I'm going to be explaining to you all about B-fuel costs and how you can manage your B-fuel costs through the multiple account strategy. So let's jump straight in. So understanding the numbers around mining, managing your B-fuel costs and the multiple account strategy. This is a strategy that I've been using since the very beginning of our mining journey back in October of last year. And hopefully this will help you to manage your B-fuel costs and maximize your profits. Okay, so we'll begin with understanding the basics, making sure that you know exactly how much it costs to run each miner on a day-to-day basis. So the GT1X, that costs $50 to buy and has a daily B-fuel cost of $3, which equals $90 per month. Now, this is a fixed cost and will not change and will remain the same for the next 140 years. The GT10X is $500 to buy, has a daily cost of $30 in B fuel, and has a monthly cost of $900. And the GT100X costs $5,000 to buy, has a daily cost of $300 in B fuel, and a monthly cost of $9,000. And again, this is fixed for all three miners. This will never, ever change. Now, B fuel has a cost of $0.0125. So that's 1.25 cents. And again, this is fixed for the next 140 years. This will never, ever change. Now, this gives us a huge advantage. To mine one Bitcoin costs approximately $50,000. But depending where you are in the world, the cost of electricity changes. So in some places it can be more expensive, in some places it can be much cheaper. But here in We're All Satoshi, with Bitcoin Code and B fuel, we have a constant figure of cost. This will never, ever change. Every single miner has a constant cost of running, and the cost of B fuel will always be 0.0125 for the next 140 years. Okay, so the strategy that I'm using is that I move my miners on a regular basis. And I'm going to explain the reason why I do that. And you can see here that I've got lots and lots of accounts. In total, I've got over 40 accounts. But today, we're going to be focusing on these three accounts. Account number 1, account number 2, and account number 3. So we're going to begin with this one, account number 1 in MetaMask. So if you look at the last 4 digits, 0C49. And if I go to the DAP, you can see on the top right-hand corner, 0C49. So you know that this is the correct account. So if I go to mine, you can see in here, I've got 227 BTCC. You can also see I am not mining in this account. I've moved my miners. Now let's have a look at the next one. So now if I switch to account number 2, and if you look at the last 4 digits, A5EE, and then on the DAP again, on the top right-hand corner, A5EE. And you can see in this account, I've mined 12.43 BTCC. And again, you can see I'm not mining. I have no miners in this account because I've moved them. Now, if we take a look at account 3, and the last 4 digits, FE94. And if you look on the top right-hand corner, FE94. So you can see that these are the matching accounts. And you can see in this account, I've mined 9.67 BTCC. And again, you can see that I'm not mining in this account. So now let's look at why I'm moving my miners and the benefits of doing that. So at the time of making this video, the value of BTCC was $110.15. So all of the numbers that I'm going to go through now are based around this value. So let's have a look at account number 1. So I've mined 227 BTCC. Based on that value, it's $25,060 of BTCC. But my B fuel costs are 2,244,543 B fuel. That in dollars is $28,056. So if I deduct $28,000 of B fuel costs from the BTCC value of $25,000, that gives me a deficit of $2,996. Now, remember, this is only a theoretical deficit. Your profit and loss is only really solidified when you convert your BTCC into USDT. As long as you keep it as BTCC, then the value could go up and it could go down. But right now, based on these numbers, we are looking at a deficit of $2,996. But that's okay. All I do now is I move my miners from account number 1 into account number 2 or another account, and I begin mining in that account instead. Now, say BTCC hits $300 in the next few months, which is very, very likely. Let's look at what happens to the numbers then. So 227 BTCC, that hasn't changed because I'm no longer mining in this account. I've moved my miners. Based on a value of $300, this new value is $68,124. But my B fuel is exactly the same. This hasn't changed because I'm not mining in this account, which means the B fuel costs are exactly the same as they were the month before or 2 months before. $28,056. This is frozen. This number will never, ever change because there are no miners in this account and I am not mining in this account anymore. That means I now have a profit of $40,068. That's huge. And that's simply because I've moved my miners, I've frozen the B fuel costs, but BTCC still benefits from the increase in price. It's only the B fuel that's frozen, not the value of BTCC. Now, imagine BTCC hitting $500. Because I'm not mining in this account, because my B fuel costs are frozen, I now have a profit of $85,484. And if I continue to hold this account and BTCC continues to go up in price, the gap between that B fuel cost and the value of BTCC will continue to increase. Okay, let's have a look at account number 2. So in this account, I have mined 12.43 BTCC. That's a value of $1,371. I have B fuel costs of $144,768 B fuel, which in dollars is $1,809. That gives me a deficit of $438. If I deduct $1,800 from $1,300, I've got a deficit of $438. So now I move my miners to another account, freezing my B fuel costs. And again, imagine BTCC hitting $300. Now my 12.43 BTCC is worth $3,729. My B fuel has remained the same, $144,768. And in dollar value, that's $1,809. But remember, this is frozen. This has not been increasing because I am no longer mining in this account. That means I now have a profit of $1,920. And imagine when BTCC hits $500, I'll now have a profit of $4,406. Simply because I moved my miners, because I'm not mining in this account anymore. My B fuel costs are frozen, but my BTCC value will increase. Let's look at account number 3. So BTCC mined, 9.67. Value, $1,067. B fuel accumulated, 115,064 B fuel. Dollar value, 1,438. That gives me a deficit of $371. If you deduct 1,438 from 1,067, that is a deficit of $371. I move my miners to another account and freeze the B fuel costs of this account. And imagine BTCC hitting $300. And again, this will happen in the coming months. So now I have the same amount of BTCC. That's not growing either because I'm not mining. It remains the same. So it's 9.6. That's a value of 2,880. B fuel remains the same because that's frozen. I'm not mining, 144,768. B fuel remains the same because I'm not mining in this account. So that's 144,768. Dollar value of 1,809. That's frozen. That gives me a profit of $1,071. And when BTCC hits $500, I'll have a profit of $2,991. So you can see that B fuel is just the cost of doing business. It is at least one of the contributing factors that will prop up the value of BTCC. Without cost, there is no value. And it is just the cost of doing business. No different to any other business. If you open a cafe, you have to rent a premises, you have to buy stock, you have to employ staff, you have to pay electricity, you have to pay gas. You have all of those costs before you open the door for the very first time. It's just the cost of doing business. So don't get overwhelmed with the amount of B fuel. The value of BTCC is way more important than the cost. It is our job as a community to increase that price, to push the price of BTCC up, to give it more value. So the question is, how do we do that? How do we keep the price of BTCC increasing? Well, the answer is on-chain activity. Swap your boomerang refund, withdraw it from WOS, send it to MetaMask, you swap it into BTCC. And I have made a video on how to do that. So please go and look at that video and that will show you how to do that. If everybody swaps their boomerang refund into BTCC, that will begin to push up the price of BTCC. And we have already seen that effect happening because in the last couple of months, Bitcoin Gold has gone from around $63 to $110, $114 right now as I'm recording this video. Harvest regularly. As you've just seen, the cost of B fuel is irrelevant. It only becomes a loss or a profit once you convert the BTCC into USDT. So as long as you hold it as BTCC, you will create a profit in the long run. So harvest, even if you only harvest $100, you don't need to harvest your entire account. If everybody in this community harvested just $100 every month, we would see BTCC value rocket past $200, maybe $300 and hit $500 very, very quickly. It is only activity that is going to create the value. The value of any crypto token or coin does not increase because we hope for it to, or because we pray for it to, or because we sit watching it. It increases because of activity. It increases because traders trade it. It increases because it has a utility. BTCC has utility. We are giving it utility. So as long as we are harvesting it and bringing it on chain, we are creating on-chain activity and contributing towards the increasing value. The new 60-40 rule. Chavez has introduced a new 60-40 rule. So now all DeFi products must be purchased using 60% USDT TRC20 and 40% USDT BTC20. And this is going to create a demand for USDT BTC20. And where does that come from? That will come from people harvesting BTCC and converting it into USDT. And as we see that activity grow, we will see BTCC value increase more and more and more. By the middle of 2025, I fully expect BTCC to be anywhere between $500 and $1,000. And that will be because of us as a community pulling together, creating on-chain activity and harvesting without fear, knowing that we are contributing to that increasing value. New projects coming from Chavez. At some point in the first half of 2025, Chavez will be relaunching Boomerang 2.0. That will be built on our blockchain, the BTC20 blockchain. And what will be the gas fee for all those arbitrage transactions? Bitcoin code. That's utility. That will push up the price of Bitcoin code. And who knows what other projects Chavez has in his top drawer. There will be many other projects and collaborations that Chavez is creating that he will bring to the BTC20 blockchain that will give on-chain activity, that will give utility to Bitcoin code and in turn push up that price. But above all, hodl. Hold on for dear life. Never sell all of your BTCC. It's tempting to do so, especially when you see the price going up. You want to sell it and you want to cash in. But remember, all of those people who sold all of their Bitcoin when it first hit $2,000, if they didn't buy back in, they regretted it, because look at it now. Bitcoin is touching $100,000. How many people sold early, cashing in those early profits and feeling so happy and excited that they made a profit, only to lose out on that future value? Well, we are in that journey all over again with Bitcoin code. And if you sell all of your Bitcoin code now, it will become increasingly more difficult to accumulate Bitcoin code. Because remember, the ecosystem is operating in exactly the same way that Bitcoin does. Every 4 years, there is a halving. Every time there is a new miner mining, you are receiving less BTCC. So it becomes more expensive to mine, which means you need the value to be higher and higher in order to create the profit. So hold your BTCC. Of course, cash out some of it, a percentage of it, maybe 10%, maybe 20%, and keep the other 80% and hold it. Because in a year from now, in 2 years from now, in 5 years from now, imagine when BTCC hits $1,000, $3,000, $5,000. How exciting will that be that we have recreated the Bitcoin journey? And we saw the vision because we have the experience of the last 15 years. We can predict, at least to some degree, the future of Bitcoin code. So, hodl, hodl, hodl. So, hopefully now you understand that Bfuel is nothing more than the cost of doing business. It's not something to be scared of. It's not something to be losing sleep over. It is a huge contributory factor to propping up the value. But what else is contributing to that value? And that is us as a community pulling together, harvesting BTCC, transacting with BTCC. And you have the ability to maximize your profits by using the multiple account strategy, moving your miners once a week, once a month. That choice is up to you. It will depend on how many miners you've got. If you've only got 1 or 2 miners, you can move them once a month. If you've got 20, 30, 40, 100 miners, it's going to be a good idea to move them once a week. But the choice is yours. It's a decision you need to make based on your own circumstances. But at least you have an idea now of how you can manage your Bfuel costs, maximize your profits. So hopefully this has proved to be a very useful video for you. As always, please remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you get notifications every time I release a new video. And as always, thanks for watching and have a great day.